can try. I've got line of sight.
Welcome to the first of many, hopefully, Line of Sight Paintcasts. I'm Jaden, and I'm here with Bret.
Hi, I'm here.
Yeah, and probably nobody's listening right now, but this will be going on YouTube, so that's cool. Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is you're going to hear a lot of clicking as I make people know that we're doing this. A lot of clicking. So, Bret, what are you painting tonight?
Well, I decided to start painting like 30 seconds ago, so I picked the nearest model to have.
What?
It is the alternate Hawkeye. So it's a Kate Bishop 3D print.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Very nice. Tonight, as you can probably see, I'm going to be painting on a Custode, specifically a Sagitarrum guard, and Sagitarrum. And then when that inevitably makes me too mad to continue, I will be doing a whole bunch of messing around with Marvel Crisis Protocol bases because I want to write some tutorials. And by write, I guess I mean record video for some tutorials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that inevitable?
What do you mean?
Why is it inevitable that you're going to get frustrated with it?
Oh, because Bret, I've already been. Can you see the model on the screen?
Yeah.
I've already worked on this model for about 12 hours.
Okay, so it's done.
Nope.
Well, there's your problem.
Yep. So actually, I'm going to be undoing some work with it. And by that, I mean, I'm going to be taking black paint right now and painting over some of this non-metallic gold stuff and trying again.
Okay. Is black the best way to start that?
Yes, because I want maximum contrast.
I see. Okay, so before you destroy it, can you tell me what's wrong with it?
Sure. So basically, it doesn't look like gold. It looks like yellow. So what I want to do is I want to like this bit right here on the shoulder is the best part, probably, because it's got the most color in it. But it doesn't actually read like a metallic, and I don't know. I'm just not happy with it. Like,
so yeah, it's not very orange.
Yeah, and like this thing right here should have more than one section of highlights on it at the edges. It should have like some stuff in the center too. I guess. I don't know. This is the thing I'm the worst at is non-metallic gold. So we're just practicing because there's no way to get better at it otherwise.
So then, before we start, should we look at like references
of gold stuff?
I was going to say of other people who paint non-metallic gold, but yes, if you have some gold lying around, that'd be good too.
I mean, I guess I could do. Mostly, I'm going to start painting on this because if I don't, my will fail me, and I will not.
Okay,
I will not be able to continue. But so there's a couple issues with referencing non-metallic gold, and I've got a few pictures that I guess I can throw up here. The first being that most of the things that are painted in non-metallic metal are a lot bigger than this.
Okay.
So that makes a difference because you can use different blending techniques on things that are, bigger, and it will still look smooth from a distance.
So yeah, all those like ridges make it hard. Because you have to do a different. You have to do a different non-metallic metal pattern for every.
Yeah, I guess so. That's part of the problem is figuring out what it's supposed to look like, and I'm not the best at that yet. Like that's the thing. Painting non-metallic metal isn't any harder than painting any other gradient of color. Really, it's just understanding where the gradients are supposed to be that's really hard.
Yeah,
and that's the part I'm not as good at. Oh no, not his shoulder pad. So we'll see how that goes.
All right, you have to tell. So our resident punter is here. So I assume there's a joke about Captain Messinius and Argent episodes.
I have no idea. Is that Left Carman that's here?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I think Argentum is maybe like Argent is silver.
Yeah, I thought that was silver.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of silver on the Custode, which is unusual.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm doing Hawkeye, so I start by grabbing all my purples.
Oh, that's a way to do it, yeah.
That's like her only color.
I'm trying to think. What did I do to my Hawkeye to make it look like not just purple? I cannot recall. There was maybe a lot of gray in it as well.
Yeah, she has like a scarf thing.
Oh, okay. You could paint that whatever colors you wanted then.
All right. So here's the thing I want to work on.
Uh-huh.
So I started doing the light color and then flesh contrast, and it looks fine, but I think I'm ready to try something new and move on from that.
Oh. Okay.
I think that's the most obvious place that I can make progress in my painting.
Sure. Making better looking faces is never a bad thing.
Yeah. This one has sunglasses, so this will be easy.
Yeah, the less eyes you have to paint, the better.
Okay. So I've got my RGB. Is that where you start?
RGB, red, blue, green?
Yeah.
For faces? For faces, I usually start with like a really dark red.
Okay.
And then I work up to various colors of pink and yellowy salmon-y pink.
Okay. So like
From
mix
there.
it with yellow. Do you mix pink with yellow?
So I'm going to be honest. I'm not doing a whole lot of mixing anymore.
Okay.
There's a lot of like layering on the thing. Let me see if I can find. Yeah. So I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit more. Nope, wrong way.
Oh yeah, let's play.
So you can kind of see how like there's the darkest parts of him, and then it's just little layers of built up brighter and brighter colors.
Okay.
And the thing about blending is that there's a couple of attributes there. There's how opaque is my paint, and there's what shapes do I paint in, because the shape can disguise the edges. And then there's also how big are my brush strokes. There's a couple of really excellent painters out there that just paint without like any blending at all, except for some glazes at the end, and they just use really tiny brush strokes to make the colors blend into each other, which is cool, and then also frustrating that works at all, because I can never make it work for myself.
Okay. So I just need to get my target color and turn into a glaze.
I don't even know if I'd go that far, to be honest.
Okay.
So,
I don't even know if I have that target color anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, yeah, I can see the Twitch chat now. Yes, Chris, it's entirely Brett's fault, actually. In most respects, it's Brett's fault, at least. Chris has been on the receiving end of my Custodes twice now. Although, to be fair, about a third of the models that he's played against were his, like, not that long ago, so...
My wife got really into nail polish, so now I'm like, oh yeah, you should totally get a mixer for your nail polish.
A vortex mixer?
Yeah.
That's pretty great. Have you tried oil blending? So no, and mainly because I have 3 children. And I don't want oil paints in my house in the open.
They're only a little toxic.
No, it's not even that. It's more that they're permanent and very hard to clean.
Oh, okay.
Because hold on, where is that thing? So I leave decoy things on my desk for my daughter to get a hold of, so that when she wants to be destructive, she doesn't actually break the stuff I care about.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't have the example. Anyway, I got a little piece of polystyrene out. and I just let her like mess around with it, and now it's just covered in pencil marks and all kinds of stuff. So yeah. But anyway, oil washes look really cool. I don't have the faintest clue what I would need to change about my process to use them. I think there's a good amount of like gloss coating to use them properly, because you like paint and then gloss coat, and the gloss coat lets the oil wick into the cracks better.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. So, there you go. Stuff you'll learn about as you go on. But like, and the thing is, the best way to do gloss coats like that a lot of the time is with an airbrush, and I kind of destroyed my airbrush, and I don't really plan on getting another one anytime soon. So, yeah.
I feel like what you described sounds like it would destroy an airbrush as well.
No, you don't use an airbrush to do the oil paints. You use the airbrush to spray the gloss coat.
Okay.
Also, airbrushes are ridiculously easy to clean. You just take out the O-ring and you chuck them into some isopropyl alcohol for a couple of days.
Oh, and I have lots of that.
Clean it, yeah, Mr. 3D printer.
I'm too scared to actually use it, but it's all set up.
All right, well, if I'm ever down that way, I'll just walk in and press go on something, and you'll be like, what did you do? I'll be like, I don't know, but it'll do something now.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I am attempting to do here is to build up a bunch of different layers of orange that are slowly moving up to yellow. And I'm trying to hit two main spots on the thing, and then also the edges, so that they kind of look like they're edge highlighted. Although that's going to be less important because I'll hit those with like a very bright color and pure white later.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also possible. Hold on, let me just think about this.
I was going to ask, are you going to pick a light source?
Yeah, it's top left.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see that already, but like if you look at the rest of the model, the left side is a lot brighter.
Okay.
With highlights here than the other side is.
And when you're doing non-metallic, you have to kind of like imitate the shape of the light, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Now I'm just looking at this under my lamp a little bit here, and it looks to me like what I might want to try is making this entire one and this entire one be highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
And because those surfaces would be hitting the sunlight direct on. And then these ones can be a little bit less so. So we're going to give that a shot and see if it works.
Yeah, and that gives you more area to work with. It should make it easier.
Yeah, and then like, let's see. Okay, that gives me some ideas for the next piece, but the other frustrating thing is you can see all the colors I'm working with on the screen, and you'll know. Thanks, Troll Slayer. I had a lot of fun with it. I will probably be doing some more base work later. Believe it or not, there is no basing material on there. It is just a regular base that I sanded down.
So you painted those cracks?
Yeah.
Nice.
It was a lot less work than it sounds like. It was just like dragging stuff on across.
It wasn't that hard. It wasn't that hard. I just said there's only 16 models.
Yeah, that was a big part of it. Also, I had just played against the list that I built, and it was very cool. That usually helps.
Mm-hmm. The hardest part was getting to buy the jet bikes.
Okay, did I tell you my what I realized about why I didn't like them was stupid story?
Was it because the beak is wrong?
No.
Because that's what I don't like.
No. So what I originally thought was that this stupid lance was the melee weapon and the ranged weapon. And I was like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And then when I was building them, I realized that there are, in fact, actual missile pods
Mm-hmm.
on the end of the bike where you would want to put things to shoot in front of you. And suddenly I like them a lot better. I'm fickle like that. Like, the functionality of things shouldn't matter because this is 40K and none of it actually makes sense with the physics of the world.
Or work.
Yeah. But I don't know. Any nod to reality makes me happy, I guess.
I mean, well, that's a classic sci-fi thing. You have to be able to suspend your disbelief. And
Right.
so if it goes too far and you can't suspend your disbelief anymore, then you don't like it.
It's actually 28 models, Loth.
Oh.
And it will take me a very long time.
Yeah, you're talking about, okay, I needed to get this done by what, like May?
Yeah, but more realistically, July. Because there's a GT in May that I'm on the wait list for and may or may not get into. And then there's the Seattle Open in July that I'm definitely going to.
Mm-hmm.
So the nice thing is I have Chaos Knights. So if I need to fall back onto something, I already have an army that's painted, cool, and pretty good. I also did something really silly today, and I traded my limited edition Conquest model for enough armigers to play Imperial Knights. So I just need another Imperial Knight kit, and I can play Imperial Knights now.
I take no responsibility for that.
No, that one wasn't your fault. Okay, I'm already liking the way this looks a little bit better with the super solid, like, flat highlight on the one thing and the smaller highlights on the other things.
So you were like trying to do too much?
I don't think I was doing enough, to be honest.
Oh, interesting.
2 whole armies, because I've got my 12 Chaos War Dogs. Oh, I guess that's not true. I'll be mixing one model. I've got my one blue and red, or blue and purple knight that's on a Loyalist chassis that I will probably just leave alone. It's not really spiky or really looks like chaos at all if you take it out of the army context. I think we need to probably ban that account right there. Let's do that. Oh wait, I'm not logged in, am I? Brett.
What do you mean you're not logged in?
I'm logged in on Streamlabs. I'm just watching as an on a non-logged in account.
Oh. Well, what am I supposed to do?
Are you logged in?
Not to Line of Sight.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll ban him later. Yeah, borrow some more. I've got 50 zillion War Dogs. Borrow them. They're like, wait, we haven't been played in a few like almost a month now. What's going on? Okay, pure white is probably a mistake, but we're going to do it anyway. This is actually my favorite technique in non-metallic metals. Brett, do you see how I just like basically put a bunch of little dots on the edges of things? That's how light will actually collect on a metal, and it looks really shiny for barely any work. Okay, I can't tell if this looks any better. Where did Richard go? I need him to yell at me.
I don't know.
Hey,
Hey,
Hey, it's a Chandler.
hey.
Hey.
We're
How's it
done.
going, man? We haven't even started talking about Brett's topic list because we've just been talking about painting.
yeah, we've been doing it organically.
Oh, I
Sure.
won't be helpful.
Thanks.
I'm being enthralled by my new computer, so I'm busy. But I figured I'd come hang out. Say hi at least.
Man,
Yeah.
I'm reading a book series now about where like high level math is the root of magic. So like the main sorcerer is like a computer scientist.
I mean, I am more and more convinced that computer science is the new magic. Okay, Richard, look at his helmet thing and tell me if that looks better, because I can't tell, but I think it does. Okay.
Yeah, I had to go get a DisplayPort cable because the new graphics card. I finally have a graphics card new enough that it doesn't have a VGA input. So I was like, I guess I finally have to actually go get modern cables for my monitors.
All right, I'll throw more warm colors in there. Chill out. Thank you, Holy Ducky. Yeah, this is my test model, and the rest of them probably won't look quite this nice, but we'll see, I guess.
Modern Bob Ross. I just imagine painting like demons. You're like, it's a happy little bloodletter. Let's give him a little friend.
Everybody needs a friend.
Everybody needs a friend.
I mean, this is almost grayscale. Does that work?
I feel like Angron having a friend would really go a long way.
Yeah, you're right. Angron really needs
I feel like that's
somebody
really
to
the
talk
problem
to.
he has, is that he doesn't have any friends.
What's his face tried, and then he got murdered a bunch.
He's still there, though. And he is the closest thing Angron's got. He's the only guy he'll listen to. Yeah, Karn.
Thank you. I wanted to say Abaddon. It doesn't sound right.
No, he's not friends with Abaddon.
No, nobody's friends with Abaddon.
Abaddon just knows how to point him in directions,
Yeah.
which thankfully is all it really takes with Angron. As long as there's bad guys over there, or wizards,
Or anybody.
bad guy wizards. Yeah, just anyone really. Human, immortals, living things, other demons. Really doesn't matter. If it's over there and he wants to kill it,
Yeah.
he wants to hit it with
the name.
He just wants to hit it with his axe, Spine Grinder, which is a
Okay, but
name for a
the lore
weapon.
on his sword is hilarious.
Oh my god, it's so good.
It's a Tzeentch demon that he hit hard enough that another. It's a Slaanesh demon that he hit hard enough that it forged it into a sword.
Well,
Like-
so this Slaanesh demon was in like a gladiator pit and was like grandstanding too much, and Angron thought it was stupid. So he jumped in and he picked up a big metal bar, just a
that's what
rough
it was,
metal
yeah.
bar, and beat the Slaanesh demon to death with it so hard that the bar was a sword by the time he was done, and now the demon lives in the sword.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how blacksmithing works, but
It's
that's
how
pretty
Angron smiths his sword. It's right there. It's in the book.
Yep.
I don't see how it happened in a book. You don't understand.
Can't argue with the in the book
You
part.
can't argue with the book.
Yeah.
I had a conversation
Nurgle demons
with
are all happy.
I had a conversation with Taylor, the guy I play against the most yesterday, about the. I don't even remember why we were talking about the idea that Karn suddenly becomes aware that he's a book character. And he's like trying to get out. He's like very concerned about canon.
Who would be the most like I'm a book character? Who would be the most likely to recognize that? Is it Lorgar?
It's Magnus. He's already the most self.
Oh, you're right. It is.
I mean, like Tzeentch as a concept, maybe. There's one that would be kind of funny, which would be Zarek. He's a Necron, who is just he's kind of played as the wacky eccentric old man who's a little crazy all the time. So him commenting on being a fictional character would be very funny because
Wait, Zarek the Silent King, or are we talking about Trade?
No, sorry, not Zarek. What the hell's his name? Give me a second.
Imhotep? Trade?
No. It's slower. It's slower than that. He's okay, give me a second. I'll recognize it when I see it.
Okay.
I was just watching a thing about it earlier today. So
You know who else would be really funny if they recognized it? It would be Gilliman.
Well, he already has ultra depression. It's just going to get worse from there.
I know, right? That would be great.
I don't know how we turned into a 40k lore cast.
Zandrek. That's what it is. That's why
I have never heard of that name.
Yeah,
I think he was in the Ant-Man movie.
Yeah, there you go. Nemesaur Zandrek. He's a Necron.
Nemesaur.
Yeah, Nemesaur is like, it's kind of like Admiral. It's a question is whether or not this is actually true that he genuinely believes this, but he portrays himself at least as fully believing that he is still a biological being and is unaware that the Necrons are not. And in fact, thinks that all other alien races that he fights are just like Necron revolutionaries.
Oh.
So like he has a whole quote when he's fighting orcs where he's like, these separatists are really giving us what for. I'm not sure why they think painting themselves green and yelling is going to help, but that's how he is all the time. But he's just tolerated because he's like a very good general. He's just also crazy. Yeah, Malkador. Yeah, Malkador could. He's one of those kind of peering beyond the veil kind of characters.
Okay, I have successfully made a non-metallic gold that I don't think sucks. So that's good. Yeah, now I just have to redo all the other parts of him. All right, well, before that starts, we're just going to black everything out because that doesn't require any thinking, and I can just do it.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got purple on it, so it's good.
I mean, that is how Chandler objectively handles color schemes, right? Is purple? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Makes sense to me.
I guess I can't really argue with that.
No. That's really how
I
you
could,
get past,
but
you can't argue with something that has no logical foundation. That's why I just use that. I go, look, you can't argue it because it doesn't make any sense in the first place.
Look, he has a grading rubric.
Yeah.
The entire thing is purple.
Yeah.
Presence of Haunter.
Yeah.
Ken has purple. Oh gosh, you liking Mewtwo makes a lot more sense now.
Oh, I'm just amused by the idea that he has like actually really dope like philosophical quotes and he's a fucking Pokemon character, and I think that's great.
What? Who?
Mewtwo.
Mewtwo. Oh yes.
Yeah.
I also cried a lot during
purple.
that movie.
What are my thoughts on Screamers? I think Screamers are actually pretty dope. The only problem with Screamers right now is that they are competing like in the exact same point and cost slot as Fleshhounds. And Screamers will definitely backline pretty well, but because you can deep strike everything in Demons, like you can get into backline kind of anyway most of the time. And the problem Screamers have that's just really obnoxious is that they're like, I'm a melee fighter, except that that's the worst place for me to be ever. I should never be in melee, but I am also only melee. It's like, okay. Whereas Fleshhounds are actually like real bastards. They're really, really good for their point cost.
Yeah, Unit of 5 killed 1.5 Sagitarrum. I was like, what the garbage?
Yeah, no, they're
happening?
gnarly. Like on the charge, they hit so hard. Whereas you get Screamers in, and they're like just dumpster fire bad. And then they have I think a 6-up save in melee, and you're like, why is this a melee unit? Like, I don't understand. I do like Screamers a lot though. I own like 9.
I forgot you did. Jeez.
Well, so this is the thing.
Are Screamers big?
Yeah, they're pretty big.
Yeah, they're kind of they're long.
They're the manta ray things, right?
Yeah, they're the manta ray things. The models are just they're not like huge, but they're like I just do have. It's just a little weird to have as many of them as I do.
Oh, because they've been bad for so long.
Yeah, I mostly had them for
Age of Sigmar.
And it's also because the Burning Chariot kit is like one of the most bizarrely cost-effective kits in GW history. It's wild because yes, if you don't get the charge, the Fleshhounds are bad. But if you do get the charge, the Screamers are bad. and if you don't get the charge, the Screamers are also kind of bad. The main thing Screamers
you're trying to just do behind enemy lines. They're just like freaking impossible to shoot down, right?
Yeah, they're really, really hard to shoot. So like they do have a job. I really think that Fleshhounds only like just edge them out, generally speaking. But I think Screamers are fine. Like I played a couple units the other day, and they're fine. Like they're just really fast, and they're like, lol, my objective, or I'm in this table. Like what I used them for was actually for Reality Rebels, because you have to have like the same number or more units in the table quarter to get the points for it. I was just moving screamers around into table quarters to make sure that I was winning that in as many
That
table
sounds
quarters as
freaking
possible.
obnoxious.
Yeah, it's just, and that's all they were doing. They had I think they charged something at one point, did like 1 damage to a Space Marine, like it was just awful. But they were literally just running back and forth, like just being like, oh, I need another unit in this table quarter for Reality Rebels. So they'll just they either do their like 16-inch move plus an advance or just deep strike. Yeah. No, screamers do not shoot. What you're probably thinking of is horrors.
Flamers?
Well, maybe flame. Yeah. So the main shooty things you're going to see in Tzeentch is screamers. No, sorry, I literally just said they don't shoot. The main shooting things in Tzeentch is going to be horrors, and flamers, and then like other versions of flamers. Because there's flamers, and then there's exalted flamers, and then the burning chariot, which has flamers on it, which is why it shoots. Whereas screamers are just manta rays that bite things. They have, if I remember right, they have like 3 wounds, which is an upgrade over Fleshhounds, and they're very fast. They just
are they move 14? Or are they 16?
Might be 16, but let me
I think
check
they're
to be
16s.
100% sure. They're very
I have
quick.
made a mistake. No, I have made a mistake.
That is Age of Sigmar. I don't care. Yeah, they have a 16-inch move. The thing I wish Screamers had, I don't necessarily mind their output being kind of bad, because melee output is not Tzeentch's thing, right? So like the melee output not being great is kind of fine. What they need to do is survive, right? They need to be like tankier somehow. And
they had a 5-up demon save in melee.
A 5-up demon save in melee would be nice. I've talked about like stuff should have like -1 to hit them in melee or something.
What if when they died, they turned into 2 different models?
Well, that's horrors. Horrors are funny. So I played against a Iron Hands player. So Iron Hands are like very, very good right now. And the thing is, though, is it's a lot of like anti-tank shooting, and boy, using anti-tank, like even like really high quality anti-tank shooting into pink horrors is just like the apocalypse. It's so bad.
It's the most depressing thing in the universe.
Yeah, he would usually be like, all right, here's my like, like 400 points of tanks would shoot at them, and I'd be like, I have the same amount I started with. Huzzah. Like, we did it. They're just lower quality, but that's fine. I had the entire army shoot a single unit of pink horrors, and I had 1 brimstone horror at the end after morale, which they had like their morale test was like plus like 25 or something.
Like they do.
Yeah, because they still do lose their morale for every model they lost. Yeah, it's all the same unit, so they get pretty silly. And they used to have the thing where when you rolled a 1, you'd get D6 models back.
Mm-hmm.
But they did not keep that in the new codex, which is like fair. But that mechanic was really annoying. It was swingy. It was one of those things that like would just.
Well, they also had the stratagem that would just auto one it, right?
It was a Tzeentch thing. Tzeentch had a way to auto one it.
Yep.
Yeah,
I played against that in my first ever 40K tournament game.
Yeah, I don't know if it still works that way in Age of Sigmar. I know it did when I stopped playing. And actually, it was in Age of Sigmar that Tzeentch could just auto one it. That's what it was, because they had like miracle dice basically, but you could use.
Oh, they had a stratagem in Demons.
Yeah,
in
I
Edition
believe
Codex
that's true. Yeah.
So, yeah. The dude was like, "All right, I've got 500 points of summoning." I was like, "Oh."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "It's all gonna be pink horrors." I was like, "Oh, okay then."
Yeah.
That was the game I lost because I didn't read my model rules.
I hear good things about reading the rules.
I do too. I just don't very often.
Yeah.
I'm never in a hot tub.
Never in a hot tub. Massimo's not even here, Brett.
Yeah, I know, but he's going to listen to the recording.
That's probably true. All right. While that's drawing, I'm going to paint a Dawneagle Jetbike because they're cool.
Hey, Jaden.
Yeah.
I painted a war dog in like 45 minutes today.
I detest you right now.
It's great.
I've been painting for 37 minutes, and this is what I've done, Chandler. I've painted
Nice.
one stupid little head thingy, and I painted a bunch of black.
Hey man, you're killing it.
I
I also base coated 6 Nurglings and most of a Bloodthirster today. Entirely with contrast paints. One coat, huzzah.
I don't own more than like 3 contrast paints.
I painted Agent Venom yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it took me like an hour. I'm like, I don't even think this is 3-color standard.
I love models like that where you're like, if I actually paint it to canon scheme, it's not minimum. it's not painted enough.
Yeah, especially like Venom. It's like
I did do it as anti-Venom.
That's cool.
That's true. Your Great Unclean One is pretty for, the 5 minutes it's gotten to spend on the table.
Wow, rude.
I know. Look, man, toughness 9 doesn't matter if you're already wounding on 5s.
Yeah, right. Yeah, against like strength
like,
5
whatever.
weapons and stuff.
It's like, all right. Especially with Rendax, it's like, well, I guess I wounded you a bunch of extra times with 6s.
That is kind of true. That's an interesting thought, though, right? Is that toughness 9 really only means anything into what? Strength 8 weapons?
Strength 8 weapons, yeah.
Like, it seems good, but it's kind of not.
It is good, I think.
It's 100%. It's way better than toughness 8. Like,
yeah,
given that there are so many anti-tank weapons that are toughness. I guess it's also useful in strength 9 weapons. That's the other one.
Yeah.
Well, not really,
Ducky,
because strength 4 is still wounding on 6s.
Yeah,
on 8s, right? I just mean the difference between 8 and 9. It only really affects strength 8 and 9 weapons, right?
Yeah.
It's because odd number strength and toughness is always really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, T8 and -1 damage. Doesn't he have a -1 damage exaltation?
So the thing is, it's only in melee, we found out.
Oh, really? Yeah. Wow, that's dumb, actually.
Yep. That was our conclusion.
All the time.
Yes, I agree. So, Holy Ducky, I'm a violin player. I have to have clipped fingernails, or else it's bad.
I just bite my nails because I'm the worst.
Yeah, I mean, if you'd had the -1 damage, the Sagitarrum God would have shot at like a lot of other things instead. But yeah,
melee attack. Why?
Although I did have a Dreadnought going into him after that, D3 plus 2 damage.
Oh, sure. I mean, well, this is the thing, right? Like, it's Custodies just hit very hard, but like, why? Why is it only in melee?
I don't know, man.
Wow, its exaltations suck. No, like reading that, because that's the thing, is that's the only one I thought was good, but it only being melee, I mean, it's still like okay, but like the other one is like, while an enemy model is near this model, the slowest of all of the greater demons, you get worse leadership and combat attritions. Like, yay.
Ooh.
Congratulations, you're a bad Chaos Knight.
Then the other one is you retain Warp Storm points, which is just like, okay.
Hey, now that could be interesting.
Well, it is, but there's a million other ways to do that.
Okay.
Are like, demons have a number of ways. Like, Tzeentch has a spell that does that. I think Slanesh has a spell or a model. I don't remember. And then I feel like Khorne has a way too, but I don't remember.
That would be weird.
Oh, Khorne has, I think, a Warlord trait. Yeah,
okay.
It's a Warlord trait. When the model's on the table, you can retain 2 points. You don't use it because you can't take more than 1 Warlord trait in demons.
Yep.
Yeah, he's the worst, and I think it's kind of by a margin because, I mean, the Lord of Change and the Bloodthirster are just like goats. Like, they're just really good. But even like Keeper's of Secrets are great. Like, I don't think they quite hold up to the other two, but an Unclean One just seems rough, even with the point drop. Which sucks because they're kind of neat, but
they are neat. Maybe so. Like, we're getting a balanced data slate in about a month here, month and a half.
I would love to see the Great Unclean One get some kind of extra rule. It has a 5-up in melee.
Yep.
Ugh. A Bloodthirster is way tankier than a Great Unclean One.
Correct.
Into most things.
Well, especially the
that's
stupid
not how that's supposed
one.
to. And I mean, God save you, you're fighting a Lord of Change, but like killing those things is a nightmare. But like that shouldn't be the Great Unclean one's supposed to be the tanky one, right? Like that's his saving grace. He's slower.
He revives things, which the other ones don't.
Yeah, but he has to give. I feel like he should just always be able to do that. The fact that he has to drop his sword, right? Which is like his melee output blows without the sword. It's not even really that great with the sword, but it's like really bad without it. Like I guess I know he can bring plague drones or whatever back, which is cool.
Yeah.
But what's a bile blade? Yeah.
It's the little knife he comes with.
Yeah, I was just checking because you can have the flail be replaced with the bite. Yeah, I would just take the flail's range 7 and he's moved 7. Jesus, you can't get him anywhere. He's so slow.
Man, so funny, like the difference in perspective. Because like think back to War Machine, where it'd be like, oh, speed 7. Jeez, that's quick.
Yeah, I mean, well, so that's the thing is like 7's like fast for like the average because most, like infantry is like move 6, right? But when I'm looking at what's the next slowest, it's tied between the Lord of Change and the Bloodthirster at 12.
12, yeah.
And then the Keeper of Secrets moves 16 inches, which is like very far.
Yep.
Yeah, the Bile Blade giving you the extra psychic test, like that's nice.
There's been some speed creep since I played.
I mean, the average things are still not that
some armies
fast.
are very most things are not that bad. This is
No, I just
particular to certain things.
like the only way they could they could give it a jetpack or wings, I guess, and it would move 12. That was
12,
like their only
12
option.
is 12 is kind of the typical like speed demon for I think most factions. There's just a few things that are like real blitzy.
Like Angron.
Angron's quick. I mean, like Hive Tyrants, Flyrants anyway. I think they move what,
17
like 16
inches, right?
I think it's like 16, but they have like a +1 move thing they can have.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, like Morty. Like
Morty is way tankier than a Great Unclean one.
yeah, and a Great Unclean one doesn't need to be as tanky as he is. It's like Mortarian's whole deal, but it needs to be like not a marshmallow. Like it just
But
melts,
he looks like a
looking at it.
marshmallow. He's a big fluffy marshmallow and he just wants to love you.
Just make it T10. Just go with it. Just do the thing.
Please no.
Just hit the button.
No.
Because the thing is, odd number strength is usually pretty good. Because it gets you past the wounding on 6s on a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Odd numbers on toughness just kind of is awkward usually. Unless you're very specifically above a specific threshold. So like T8 to T9 is nice in that it gets you past those T8 weapons. But it doesn't help you with like mass strength 5 weapons, which massed like high volume fire is already what you want into demons a lot of the time. Because quality fire is just a waste of time into demons mostly.
Yeah, Chris's Mortarian tends to be like, all right, I have like an 80% chance of dying here, so I'm going to take 3 damage.
Yep.
That's how that typically works.
Oh, I had a into Iron Hands yesterday playing my knights. He used the stratagem. I always forget what it's called, but it's a stratagem where basically his whole army has to shoot what he uses it on as long as it can see it. So he loses the ability to choose what he targets. But I believe it's 6s to wound, explode. So you get 2 wounds for every stick. Yeah, to wound. Yeah, it's very good. So it's a good way to he can kind of just like point at a thing and go like, all right, I'm going to laser beam that thing down. But the problem is when you have like a rotated ion shield war dog with a 4-up invuln, you can kind of survive a lot of weird shit sometimes.
Yeah, 4-ups are weird. They're either like I survived a whole army or I died to 2 attacks.
Yeah. He needed to kill like a number of things, but this one was like priority 1, right? He needed to get it cleared out. So and it basically turned into he turned it into a lightning rod that his whole army was forced to shoot at because it just refused to die. Like it got down to like 2 wounds and he did kill it with like one of his last shots, but it meant like the rest of my army just got to live because he like forced himself to shoot at it. I was like, well, that had no business happening, but I'll take it.
Yep.
He had a lot of almost. Like he left my Helm of Dogs Carnivore on 2 on top
That
of
is
1.
so bad.
And so that War Dog became sit on my home objective boy.
Yep.
And it just meant that the rest of my army could go do whatever they wanted because I just had this extra War Dog on 2 health.
Yeah. Man, when you get to retreat with War Dogs and they like survive,
Yeah.
it is the apocalypse for a lot of games. It's like
The other one is when I played against Militarum on Monday. We played the one that has sticky objectives in Melee. Boy, that's wild for knights.
oh, the Data Scry salvage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it was Data Scry. I think it's the other one.
Okay.
It's like a
So
long
the only thing to be careful about on that one is that Ruthless Tyranny specifies that the objectives have to be controlled by a Chaos Knights model.
Yeah, no, I know.
So yeah, no, that's the thing that always caught
The
me
thing
off
is I
playing
usually have Ruthless Tyranny maxed so early.
That's fair. Oh, it's really easy to now, isn't it? I haven't played with it
It's
since
so easy. You just get like if you have like one aggressive, especially with the carnivores, because it's I usually had a little bit more trouble with it because I didn't usually play a super aggressive melee war dog. But having the carnivores, like if you just get it within 12 of their home objective on like turn 1, which like keeps happening because a 14-inch walk plus like a real rerollable charge, they go pretty far.
Yeah, they're fast.
If you can get that one and you just get, half the other objectives, just get a war dog onto them, it's just 5 points right there.
Yep.
Top of 1 or bottom of 1 usually. It's hard to get it top, but and then like I keep playing into matchups where the half distance charge and shooting thing isn't a huge deal. Because even with like Iron Hands, it's like, oh, he has to shoot the closest thing, which he wanted to shoot anyway. Like usually he's shooting what is coming at him, so having to shoot the closest thing doesn't really matter that much. So I just went with plus 3 inches of dread range because I didn't need that. And so when you have 15-inch dread range,
right? Yeah,
Ruthless Tyranny is like the most
so
trivial
fast.
thing to max ever. Yeah.
I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah, it's super. Like you're getting 3 on it per turn, basically brainlessly, and if you try literally at all, you get 5.
Nice.
It's really easy to do. I still find Storm of Darkness a little awkward sometimes because it takes so long to complete.
Yeah, that's it. 4 points is super worth.
Yeah, as long as you can get it like twice, it usually is fine.
Yeah,
unless you have another option.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good.
Well, we should probably at some point here talk about the things that Bret wrote down that we should talk about.
Why?
Seems like the thing to do.
Sure.
I don't know.
Figure out what we actually want to do with this podcast.
Yeah,
What are
something
we
like
even
that.
doing with our lives?
Who knows?
Dude, that's where I'm at right now. Been building Bushido armies all week.
Oh gosh, Bret, why?
Do you know how hard it is to get models for that game?
No, I can't say that I do. How hard is it to get models for that game?
So on 2 different occasions, I'm like, oh, that model looks fucking sweet. I want to buy it right now. And it's like Gen Con 22 exclusive. I'm like, that was months ago. What do you mean?
Awkward. Well, fair. So, Bret, why are we doing this stream, I guess? And why are we going to keep doing it unlike past streams?
So, I don't know. I like that Chandler and I have switched roles here. In that I don't really have a focus game right now. And every game I play, I'm getting frustrated with. So
that is happening. Yes.
And so I wanted to do a painting stream instead of a podcast so that we can spend some time improving on painting, which is something that I've been trying to do on and off. And I can just talk about whatever game has caught my fancy that week.
That's fair. Also, it lets us record me painting a whole bunch, which is useful because then we can use that for other stuff.
Yes. And getting you to regularly paint stream is probably more valuable than any talking on a non-GW game.
That's fair. Yeah, from like a people want to watch it perspective. As long as I keep getting better and don't randomly start sucking.
Well, and I also feel like you started to get like kind of like you've got starting to. It seems like you're getting frustrated with painting, where you feel like you're hitting a wall. And I feel
but this happens like every year.
Okay. Well, and that I feel that's a good time to bring in like someone to like an outside perspective to say, why don't you try this? Or like just someone to sit and paint with and talk over your ideas.
Yeah, that's true. It does help. This looks way better now, I think, than it did before.
Yeah.
Like this helmet looks eons better than it did before, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and like I'm trying out like new flesh colors, and that's the wall that I've been running into.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I think that'll be fun. And like eventually, I imagine we're probably going to use some sort of webcam setup and try to figure out how to make that work.
Yeah, that obviously makes it way easier for me to ask questions.
Mm-hmm. Or even like you could do things where you like record stuff ahead of time, and then like we could play it over the stream, and we could like pause, and I could critique it as it's happening, so you could be listening while it's going. Could be interesting.
I think with painting in particular, getting the immediate feedback is valuable.
That's probably fair.
With the exception of like if I'm specifically trying to learn a new technique, like just sitting down, trying it for 20 minutes, and then going over the video would probably be really valuable.
Yep. And then Chandler can be like, hey, I just painted my whole army while you guys were talking about this.
I'm a simple creature.
Well, yeah, and I don't enjoy painting, so I often do that too.
To be fair, I do have multiple projects that I'm going to be spending a lot more time on.
Yeah, I'm just giving you crap.
Yeah, no, I know. But there are things I'm just trying to power through right now. I needed to finish that night, and then I'm just like going to crank the demons out really quickly.
Yeah.
And like I can work on Nords for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I got some more Old Dominion. I got the 2-player starter.
I suppose I could paint some Conquest models. I have some.
Dude,
Chandler,
the airbrush dry brush technique on that Old Dominion that we talked through fucking changed my life. Like, it was unfair how good it looks and how fast it was.
Excellent. Winning. Yeah. Chandler, did I tell you I have traded the Brute of Amgrath for like 6 armatures?
Oh, I know you got all the armatures, but
yeah.
I'm gonna be doing a big order of Conquest stuff pretty soon. I'm probably gonna get a Sea Jotnar finally.
Oh, I forgot this came out.
Yeah, it's out. There's one sitting on the shelf at my store.
I would love to paint a Sea Jotnar, but I do not need another army for another game. We do need to play some Conquest, Chris. I agree. I've got all this stuff in my garage just sitting there.
I'm gonna go buy a bunch of Shatterpoint.
Oh, flip! That's coming out in like 3 months. Like, can you pre-buy it at Adepticon, or does it only come out in June?
You can pre-buy it at your friendly local gaming store right now.
I don't have a friendly local gaming store.
Oh! You're asking if it's available to buy it?
Yes. Will you be able to own it at Adepticon?
I do not think so. I think they're just doing demos.
Well, all right. That at least gives me a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Because I'm probably gonna, when Shatterpoint comes out, I'm going to just be painting Shatterpoint models for a hot second, I think.
Did you guys read the scenario article?
Yeah, it looks real familiar.
I would have said it looks really good, but yes, that's true as well.
It looks exactly almost like the stuff we came up with at LVO for our new game that is not in beta testing yet.
Yeah, great minds and all that. Yeah. So I think Andy and I agree that the most important parts of a scenario system in this day and age is to have it evolve over time and to have it like anti-snowball.
Yeah.
Chandler, did you get a chance to read it?
No, I haven't looked it over.
Okay. Well, let me tell you.
It's really good.
Yeah. So the idea is that every scenario has 3 phases.
Okay.
And to win a phase, you have to get to, so like you're pushing the victory point marker to the +8 or -8 side. And whoever gets to the end scores that phase. First to win 3 phases win, or first to win 2 phases wins out of 3.
Okay.
The cool thing is they said there are things like killing models will bring the victory point inwards. So like now you score on 7 or 6 or 5 or whatever. So I think the phases get shorter as the game goes on. So
which is sick.
Yeah, that's
a
cool
really
idea.
good like way to make sure the game doesn't go long, you know.
It also means that the game gets more intense, and also as it gets harder to score points, you need fewer of them. Yeah, lots of really brilliant things there. And then each phase is like a different way to score. So like the one they showed, there was like 9 objectives spread across the board. And in phase 1, it was the cross in the center that you could score. And in phase 2, it was the triangle. But the person who didn't score the first phase chose which triangle was scoring.
So you get to choose 2 close to you and 1 far away.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
it's interesting.
Yeah, really, really cool. If I'm going to nitpick, I wish, like, they're selling all this terrain, right? Why isn't the terrain integrated into this? Why are they just arbitrary circles on the board that are scoring? Like,
I don't know.
Well, yeah, what about scoring these 3 circles makes it we have to find an exit?
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible that there will be more terrain-centric ones coming. But I don't know.
Yeah, but like that's my only complaint about it. But like,
well, that's what we're doing for Cursed Wind / 8th Sea / whatever we're calling it, right?
Whatever the name is.
Whatever the name will be.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
Is that the terrain is going to be like a big part of the scenario system.
But it helps when your battlefield is like mostly empty water, right? you can just say bring 3 terrain pieces, they'll be the scenario.
I mean, yeah, that does help. Water. I'm so excited to eventually paint the models for that game.
Yeah. They're going to be as big as you want them to be because you're in charge.
Well, I feel like John, was it your friend?
Yeah,
is going to have some serious thoughts on that subject.
Yeah, the board width to model width hypothesis was very interesting to come up with.
Yep, gotta do math. So actually, this is a really interesting point. So we are in, I guess, pre-alpha development of a game system right now. So eventually this Paintcast will be a lot of talking about that game system as I am painting the models for it.
But we don't really have enough to talk about publicly yet. And I don't want to oversell it before if the case is. And
I mean, before we talk about it publicly, we need to have things like good concept art, good model renders,
a name.
A name that's not my name. So, Chris, I'm of 2 minds on that. On one hand, yeah, it kind of sucks that it's not Legion scale because a lot of people can't use their models. But on the other hand, you get a Darth Maul figure that's as big as this Custode.
They're big, yeah.
Like, I want to paint Star Wars models that are as big as this Custode because that sounds sick as heck. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I don't know. That seems like a pretty big draw to me. I mean, I don't think I want it to just be Star Wars MCP because I don't feel like that's going to draw a whole lot of people into it.
Oh, have the rules be compatible? That would be extremely amusing.
I think that would I would have probably done that, but this is probably smarter. So I think the thing I like about what they're doing is that it gives them a do-over on the things they messed up in MCP. At this point, I'm willing to say that the roster system is just a mistake.
Because it's too out of bounds?
Because, okay, so this is actually power creep. So power creep is when you print something so strong that in order to see future versions at that point level, it has to be like out of this world. So
yeah, that's fair.
So look at the 4 threats that have come out recently. They are unbelievable.
And you're still playing Voodoo.
And I'm still playing Voodoo.
Yeah.
So So that's
Okay,
one
so
thing.
I guess my question there is then, does a system where you are only allowed to play with a certain pool of models fix this, or is that a big problem too?
So the way Shatterpoint's trying to fix it is they're limiting, like you can take 2 chunks of any type you want, but inside the chunk there are restrictions.
Yeah.
So as long as the restrictions on those chunks, or I don't remember what they're called, are good, then we should be okay.
Squads, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Chris, you should be able to sell your Legion for enough money to get into Shatterpoint pretty easily. First of all, the existing Star Wars community seems to hate the existence of Shatterpoint, so that's confusing. But
yeah, so that is the worst part about AMG is like their Facebook page is just unreadable.
Oh, you mean the Shatterpoint group?
No, I mean all of them.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
That's the thing I've noticed is that because I'm always like looking at AMG stuff, I'm like, oh, neat, got some interesting ideas, got some ups and downs, and then you talk to anybody that's actually like kind of a more long-standing fan of like say like X-Wing, right, or whatever.
X-Wing is the worst example,
and they're just everybody's just pissed all the time, and I'm like, I'll hear about some new thing where like, oh yeah, they changed this to work this way, and I'm like, oh, that's a good idea, that kind of fixes some of the problems I had with it. And then you actually talk to a player and they're like, it's the worst thing that has ever been done in the history of humankind. And you're like, okay.
Yeah. The existence of Shatterpoint means they have killed my firstborn child.
Yeah, it's wild how mad they are all the time, and I'm like, okay, well, either I'm missing something or I'm just having a good time. I don't know. I'm confused.
Yeah, I also really didn't like the rules for Legion, Chris. I think we were both pretty unified on that. Bret really liked them, and then his meta stage and intervention, I think.
Yep. Yeah. So we for several weeks, my friend John and I were playing Legion, and we're like, okay, this is really cool. Like the scenario choosing system is awesome. I love that. There's got to be a cool game in here. A lot of people are playing it, and like we would talk about it at the MCP night, and all our meta was like, it seems like you guys aren't enjoying this. We're like, no, it's so close to a good game. And they're like, yeah, but every time you talk about it, you talk about how much you hate it. And they're like, huh. And they're like, we care about you. We care about your health and happiness. You need to stop playing this game.
There you go. Oh, I've been actually, okay, speaking of wandering into the weeds, I've been putting some serious thought into what it would take to make small scale 40K fun.
Some sort of Brawlhammer?
Yeah, maybe in that vein.
When I played, Kill Team was just small 40K.
Kill Team is very different now.
Okay.
Epic is different. That's a different concept.
Epic is big 40K.
Well, yes, kind of, because it's smaller scale. It's the models are smaller.
The model scale is smaller. God damn it.
Yeah.
We were talking about the wrong scale. I hate you so much.
Yeah.
Where's the ban button? So, all right, there's a couple things that immediately jump out to me. Like, deep striking
Jarek
shouldn't
guy,
be a thing.
Get him out of here. We don't need him anymore. Never heard of that guy.
Definitely didn't hang out with him for hours at the last Seattle. Nope.
I mean, one of my biggest problems with 40K is the fact that it takes a year and a half to play.
Play nights. It's quick.
Yeah. Yeah, Brad, just play nights. The games are really fast. Doesn't matter what your opponent does. The game's over.
The last one I showed up at
and a
about 5:45 last night, and at 7:30 our game was done, and I was like, right, nights. Forgot how that was. You just kind of,
isn't it great?
You just knock it out. And you're like, great. Especially against like Iron Hands. It was just like 8 tanks against my knights. It was just like, well, all right.
Yeah, I've been saying that recently. Like, I'm too old to play games longer than 90 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind it.
I still like long games.
I was gonna say Chandler's too old to play games shorter than 90 minutes.
I know. I'm like, I'm not even getting out of bed for this shit. Like,
yeah. I don't know. There's some things that I think I would change. Like, I don't think that you should be able to deep strike at all in small point games.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like, I think because it's such a big problem to like expose X percentage of your list to somebody that can just deep strike in and kill it all, right? Yeah. So that's the thing I would probably severely limit. Boarding action does look really cool, but I am not willing to play with, like, I'm not willing to get that much terrain.
Yeah, that's my thing. I would love to play boarding action. Like, that kind of thing sounds sort of neat, I guess. But, like, the setup is a thing.
I also don't think I agree with you that 40K isn't balanced at all. I think it's pretty
40K
good right now.
40K is actually remarkably well balanced right now. They went over it just recently, like, because their big sort of sweet spot that they talk about all the time is trying to get every faction into a 45 to 55% win rate.
And almost all of them are there.
Almost all of them are. There's only there's 2 underneath and 3 above right now, and it's by like a couple percent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just feel like small point games are kind of bad, but that's just kind of how a lot of game systems, small point games are. I am not buying boarding action from you, Richard. I'm not doing it. I don't have time to paint that much stuff. Oh, that's a fair point. I guess my wife did offer to paint a bunch of terrain for me recently.
there you go.
I think it mildly offends her how boring my tables look. Yeah.
Blocks of wood taped to each other.
No, they're slightly
Hey,
better
man,
than that.
I've played Infinity with a Pringles can, you being a silo, so I don't know.
Yeah, I was there for that game.
I know, because I was playing it with you.
It was my first game. My second game.
What was your
at a
second
tournament.
game? Yeah. it was a tournament we went to the next day. Yep.
Yeah, I came down to Utah for Chandler's birthday, and he was like, "You want to go to an Infinity tournament with me?" And I was like, "I own 0 models." I was like, "But you could own models." And so I had them shipped to his house because it was too soon to like get them to me. The day and a half of traveling would have made enough of a difference that we couldn't get them to me. And he put like 3/4 of them together, and then I played my first game, and then the next day we went up to Salt Lake and played an Infinity tournament.
Thankfully, assembling a whole Infinity army doesn't take very long.
No. Man, if Infinity ever moved away from metal, I would have a very hard time not getting
I know. God, I wish
army.
they would have nice plastic models. Dealing with those models is so obnoxious when you're used to good plastic.
Yep.
Didn't one of their games go to Searcast?
Yeah, through the big version. Some of their models are just going to COCast, like, period, but not enough of them and not fast enough for me. Also, Infinity is one of those game systems where if you can't handle dice RNG, then just don't play.
I do know that the edition that came out after we had played toned a lot of that down.
Oh, really?
Like critical hits weren't auto wounds anymore and stuff like that. Like they were still like good, but I don't remember exactly what they did.
I almost feel like that makes me less inclined to play it. I kind of liked how ridiculous it wasn't into.
It could be, yeah. Infinity. I remember when I got Infinity is probably one of the most like batshit rules dives I've ever done. When I started reading the wiki, and you just keep going. It's just rules within rules within rules, and the thing is, 99% of it corner case crap that never comes up, but it might eventually. And suddenly you're like, hey, I'm trying to like speculative fire, but I'm like above this guy, but I did an action near this like Teo camo token, but I'm behind this guy. And you're just like, all right, time to figure out 75 rules and how they all interact. Because it's more of a simulator than it is like a game, really.
Yeah.
And that's cool, but it's also obnoxious. So it's like, that's the thing. It's like a lot of the stuff I really like about Infinity is also what I can't stand about playing it at the same time.
Yep.
Like it's really weird. It's so exhausting to play, even though it's like really cool. Like you're like, man, this is sick, and I'm tired and need to go lie down. You're like, you know.
Oh yeah. By the end of that tournament that I came to, like, admittedly, I didn't know what I was doing.
It is a mentally exhausting
so mentally
game.
dead. Like we went across the road to that Wendy's, I think, and I was just like,
yeah,
I need a Blizzard.
It's a lot.
Or no, it was a Dairy Queen because of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it still takes a long time to play. It's like a skirmish, like 10 to 15-ish models per side kind of game, and you're still there for like 2 hours. Like it has
the Warcaster problem.
Yeah, there's just so much going on, but it's very, very cool. It's also a lot, and it's really kind of exhausting. And it's like, even like setup takes a long time because you have to make these very,
Setup takes
like,
forever.
the tables are cool, you have to set them up, and it takes a while, and then like deployment takes a while, and it's like this whole. So it's one of those games that I just like. I like it. I would play it if it's just that it has just a couple too many barriers whenever I want to play it.
That's actually how I feel like about Malifaux right now. It's like, I love everything you're trying to do. Your shit's way too complicated. Why does this game take so long?
Yeah.
If Malifaux had a 2d6 system, Brett,
No, the card system is good and you're wrong.
the card system sucks. Or alternatively, I should just get worse at counting cards, I guess, is the moral of the story. And then I would enjoy it more.
Well, I mean, I think that's a thing. Like, if you think about that versus like really, really understanding even like War Machine's dice math, right? It just let you do things that other people couldn't do if they didn't do that. You play against other people that are capable of the same stuff. Like, it'll at least.
No, that's not why I don't like it, Chandler. It's because at a certain point, I'm like, well, you just flipped over a card, and I literally cannot beat that because I know what's left in the deck. So I guess I just can't beat it.
So
And
you just need to flip faster. Just flip at the same time.
Okay. I
Also,
guess that's fair.
It's a resource management game. It's not a randomization game.
But I want it to be.
Like, it's about what you're holding in your hand.
Okay, but if that's the case, I'm just going to play Magic.
Yeah, I mean, if Magic had a good tabletop war game system, I'd be playing that too.
Tabletop Magic game. Oh dear, what would that even look like? Oh no, now I'm thinking about it. No, Brett, why?
They've tried many times. They've all been bad.
Okay, here's my concept. Okay, I've got one already. Just here it goes. You start with nothing but your planeswalker on the table.
Yep.
And as you move through terrain, you collect resources that allow you to summon other things that then go fight over areas.
I thought land was like you were drawing it from where you've been, like you're opening portals to it. I could be wrong.
You're using your memory of it.
Memory,
basically.
okay.
But that's that.
Force of Will. Thank you for mentioning Force of Will. I don't ever hear anybody talk about that game. That game's sweet, and they screwed it up really badly. they hacked that game up real good.
Really?
Oh, I thought Force of Will was super cool. We got really into it at the store I was in for like a very short time. And it had this very, like, the initial set had this very fairy tale, like Twisted Fairy Tale kind of thing going on. Like I had a Little Red Riding Hood deck that I really liked.
That's awesome.
Yeah, when you guys started talking about Storybook Brawl originally, I thought you were talking about a Force of Will expansion.
Yeah, it's got a bit of that vibe to it.
Too soon.
Yeah, it was like Magic without mana issues. Yeah. Although the power base that they did use got real wild sometimes, but the problem is they didn't stick to any kind of cohesive theme whatsoever. When you went into the next set, it was like anime weeaboo versions of historical figures, and I was
what?
like, and it with a totally different art style, like drastically different. It was like really jarring, and then it was like a different thing, and they started getting weird licensing crap. They just started making up random nonsense, and I was like, oh, this base game was so cool, and the card art was like really beautiful, and they just screwed it up very badly, and I'm still kind of mad about it.
So like they got
made a Cthulhu set. That was probably at least kind of cool, but I don't know. It was weird.
They lost track of the like aesthetic.
Yeah, just instantly, like just immediately, and so it just had no, and like I don't know, it just had no, there was no cohesion to it at all, and it just made it really hard to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and like, yeah, so I had this thing where you had like, and I don't remember exactly how it worked because it's been years and years, but you didn't like draw mana. You had like a separate little side deck that you also built that had your mana in it, and you basically
and they were pretty cards.
They were super beautiful, yeah. And yeah, you would like flip one per turn, so you always like had a curve, but the mana would do lots of different things. So
that's cool.
It would random out a little bit, but it at least cleaned up the mana curve problem for the most part. It was a cool game, and it had a lot of just really fun ideas. They just did a bad job with that game, like really quickly. Yeah, I had a whole bunch of it.
Yeah, it's interesting how any part of a game can ruin the whole project.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I remember sitting and watching Jeremy play that game for like an hour or two, waiting for him to play War Machine with me a couple of times at Game Den. It's like, what are you doing? Why aren't you playing War Machine with me?
Yeah, no, we had little events for it and stuff. It was cool. It's a cool game.
It blows my mind how many times our path must have almost crossed.
Yeah.
Like way back, and then they did. But
yeah.
This is the part of non-metallic metals that is the most frustrating. Like if you compare this shoulder piece that I'm working on and the helmet right here, there's just a world of difference between the two in terms of looks, and they're not that far apart in terms of how long the process is going to take, but it's just really annoying to have to go through this, like, this doesn't look very good step.
Oh, I just realized the next thing I need you to help me with.
What's that?
I don't spend enough time on my highlighting. I just like, oh, I'm sick and tired of this. Yeah, we'll just do a lighter color. Dab, dab, dab. We're done.
Yeah, I find like having a system and a plan tends to help with that quite a bit.
I'll make you teach me one.
Okay. Well, if you want, I don't know if I can move my camera without exploding everything.
No, next week.
Oh, I can do this. Here, look at this.
No, I will not. I'm doing bad highlighting right now. I don't want your...
Okay. So it should show up on the stream right about now-ish. This is my wet palette, and it has all the colors I'm going to use in a row.
Oh, there you go.
And it,
Too lazy to break out my wet palette. That's probably my problem.
But it's so convenient. I don't even have another palette.
Yeah. No, that's.
I mean, I do. It's right here, but I don't use it for anything except for glazes, I guess.
I don't use it for anything. Uses it for something.
Shh. Look.
All right.
Listen, we're not here to talk logically. We're here to make statements. We're on the internet.
Oh, that's true. Where did I put that gray?
Kazu, I feel like a lot of games just need an adult in the room to slap whoever's designing and be like, you're an idiot. Go back and do this again right.
Mm-hmm. Well, the problem is everyone disagrees on what that right thing is.
That's
the
true.
Thing I think is right.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
So I think the hardest part of game design is that you can't A/B test your way into a great game. Like you can't just give me feedback and we'll shape it to whatever you say. And I think you end up with a terrible game that way.
And you also have to you kind of think about it like you're like, oh, I'm going to design a game so I can use all the cool ideas I want to use, but all the cool ideas you want to use are not necessarily the things that make a good game, right?
That was exactly my point. Is that you also can't just be so beholden to your own ideas that you're like my way or the highway.
Yeah.
I also
that being
think
said,
that,
bracketing,
but also have to know when to dig your heels in, right? Like it's
exactly.
It's a balance. It's a hell of a balance,
and that's why Magic has stood the test of time, right?
Yeah. I also think there's something pretty serious to be said about like having a design team that's like emotionally mature enough and also comfortable enough with each other to be like, let's have this conversation, but nobody's going to get offended.
Yeah.
That's a really hard thing to do.
You have to love the game you're making, but not be in love with your ideas. Like, it's so hard.
Yep. Just like sideboards and Brawl Machine, Brett. The feature that I desperately wanted that ended up not actually mattering because nobody used it once it was in the game system, so it didn't matter what we did.
Yeah, we fought hard. We fought hard about that.
Yeah, I was a big fan of sideboards too. Brett thought they were too complicated. And to be fair, we were using the Steamroller sideboard rules, so they probably were too complicated.
They were, yeah.
If I'd just written my own, I probably could have made them work better, but we weren't confident enough to do that at the time.
Well, no, like a full fan format doesn't work.
Yeah, no. Ugh.
I played
I feel like-
ADR quite a bit.
Yeah, I also played ADR for sideboards. I was willing to take like a 15% power drop to just play a caster that was pretty good, and then have a whole lot of options.
Well, and then they put my pair on ADR. That was nice.
Right. Well, then it was like Madrak or Iona and Makeda 3 and.
The other thing I want to say. So I was talking about Bushido. They have theme forces, but one of the theme forces is play a 2-list format.
Oh gosh.
And one of the theme forces is you get 40 points of sideboard.
Nobody else gets that, I'm assuming, right?
No. I mean, like, everyone has access to that theme. So, like, why would I take, like, it has to be like a elemental evolution level of theme to compete with. I get 2 lists.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
Extremely like,
that's because in that theme you did get 2 lists worth of models in one.
Yeah. So,
Days.
what are we probably going to talk about next week, Brett?
do we want to try and like do
Or I guess it's not next week. It's 2 weeks. Because next week Chandler is choosing the Warhammer podcast topic.
Yeah. Do we want to like? Okay, so I had like 3 broad ideas where we have like model of the week, where it's just like whatever we're painting at that moment, and we just talk about like all the standard things we're doing. Then there's like we do a specific technique show where it's like we'll pick a technique and go through it, have an example model, start to finish, like how you would think about it, why you're using it, all of that. And then like a research one where we look at someone else's model and we start trying to say like, well, how would we recreate that? And you
want to do each of that every episode, or you just want to do one of those every episode?
Probably not all. Probably one per episode.
Okay. That sounds pretty good.
It's just depending on how much energy we have that week, right?
Right. Well, I mean, these are going to be relatively painless for me to edit and upload compared to the other one. So that's
glad I could help.
Not too bad. The other one's like, I have to find all these pictures and I have to put them on all the right timestamps, and then I have to add effects to all these pictures, and then I have to... This one is going to be like, I will edit the audio, and then I will line up the audio with the thing. And the best part is, it doesn't even have to be exactly on, as long as it's within like 5 to 10 seconds of where the recording thinks it should be.
And I'm off.
No, you'll be on.
No. What I'm watching right now is off.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so like it won't really matter all that much. This is the other part that I'm still like struggling really hard with non-metallics, is like I never know when I've hit the point where I can move on to the next color. I just kind of have to feel it out, and I'm not confident in that yet. Chandler, am I doing my Imperial Knights with non-metallics?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, but you want to... I've done the Chaos Knight ones with non-metallics either, and I did that already.
Are you gonna enter them in painting competitions too?
I mean, every army I take to an event should theoretically be an army that I'm willing to put in a painting competition, is kind of my attitude on it.
Sure.
That's why I'm spending like 14 hours on one Sagitarrum.
Well, he's a practice model, you said.
Yes, but he's a practice model that will enable me to paint other models that look a lot like him.
Well, what if you did like the metallics are evil and what the chromatic are good, like from D&D, but backwards?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So like I put metallic paint on the good guys?
No, you've already done metallics, right? You've done non-metallic. So what if you did a completely non-metal color scheme for the Imperials, like they're fully painted?
Oh, just like no trim, like all the trim is painted too, like
just to really stand out from your Chaos stuff.
could do. Did I tell you my crazy idea for my Imperial Knights that I had like a year or two ago? So I want to have them be the Order of St. George, and what that means is that they all get like the white paint with like red crosses on them because that's St. George's shield, right? And then I get Age of Sigmar dragons and I stick them on the big knights.
I mean, I think we're all fans of dragons here.
Yep. Except for the gold kind that hit people and then I roll 20s to make dragon tokens.
It was my die. That's my fault.
Fair.
Should have given you the die that rolled low.
Oh no, Brett, do you have Lormahord's D20s?
They're fair, but they roll low. No, that was a spin down, right? They don't roll right.
I don't think it was. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think it was.
I only brought spin down.
Well, that's your fault then.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, I know. I'm just reiterating. At least I didn't have Dragon Tempest out. Or maybe it would have been better if I did.
I guess at least the game would be over one turn earlier.
Yeah, just, 21 times 21 damage. Or 21 times 2 damage. Or
what?
21...
You can get there. I believe in you.
Yeah, it's 21 times 21, right? Yeah, it's 21 squared.
So 400-ish.
Yep. Unique damage. Or in chunks of 21. No biggie. Oh, gosh.
Look, I've lost a Valakut enough. I know how it works.
Yeah, I guess that is just Valakut, but worse, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you have to connect with a creature. You don't have to put lands into play. Lands coming into play, or the land coming into play is an unrespondable game state effect.
Yeah. Notoriously unreactable.
Yeah. Gotta love it. All right. Well, I'm probably in about 5 minutes. I'm going to be done painting for the night's stage of things.
Yeah. Cool. I just finished Kate.
Nice. I need to order myself Beta Ray Bill and Ulik and Spider Agent thingy.
Agent Venom.
Those Agent Venom and Spider Woman. Yeah, those boxes look sick as heck.
Yeah. My friend did a really cool OSL with the lightning on Beta Ray Bill. That's cool.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of really interesting and nifty things to do with him. He's got a very dynamic model and a very different material. Like he's got a diverse material profile on him, which is going to be really fun to paint.
Cape, metal, alien flesh.
Cape, metal, alien flesh, lightning, street. I guess everything has a street.
See, they're all street level heroes.
Yep. Man, I'm telling you, there is nothing that AMG could do nothing AMG could do that would make me more excited than to hear that they're releasing a new set of 4 small bases and a new set of 3 medium bases.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Age of Sigmar for your 7-year-old is going to be life for a while. That's okay. I hear Age of Sigmar is a fun game. I've heard okay things about it.
I don't know. I don't trust anyone that says take 2 turns in a row is okay.
I mean, there's a reason I don't play it, really. Like, the game is like really great until you just get fucked by that one too many times, and you're just like, all right, I'm over it. Now, I haven't played the current edition, so.
Hey, Chandler, just watch Warhammer 10th edition. That's going to be part of the game.
Oh, Jesus.
Guarantee it.
I feel like that's the only thing they could do
That would be
stealing from Age of Sigmar,
pretty.
that would make me be like,
That would be pretty bad. Yeah.
That's one way to get you into Age of Sigmar. It's like they're just
So
the
the
same
thing
rules.
is, like, when I got used
Yeah.
to some aspects of the double turn issue, I kind of understand. It kind of does work in certain situations. Like, it's not as bad as it sounds from like a War Machine perspective, right? Because it's just like the way that like melee combat especially works.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is, one, gun lines. Being double turned by a pure gun line is the apocalypse.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fucking
that's true.
horrible. And the other is just when it just makes like a game that is already close or you're behind, which is way worse. Like it,
Yeah.
cool, because they get cited. People like, yeah, it sets you up for these great comebacks. I'm like, yeah, sometimes it just makes an already shitty game way worse. Like,
Mm-hmm. It's like when you roll 6 successes out of 4 dice in Marvel.
Yep. That sure can happen.
yeah,
Chris, is Orc War Clans like a really model heavy army or something?
It's
I'm
orcs.
assuming it's orcs, so
Yeah,
yes.
so it works.
Oh, hey, but that means that you get to play the Maw Crusher.
you get to
which-
play the Cabbage of Doom. Yeah, he's great.
which is
Yeah.
the coolest thing.
now that you can't play the artichoke people in Infinity, you got to get your vegetables somewhere.
Yeah,
I actually have an entire Artichoke People like 300 point thing in Infinity.
Oh, I
got
know.
it
I
from
was
my brother at one point, and then he never did anything with it, so I just ended up with it.
Yeah, I was real close to buying them, and then they got removed from the game.
If JSA or Combined Army ever get like an almost entirely Ceocast resculpt line, I will be in so much trouble. JSA is like everything I want in a future cyborg samurai army, and I also just think that like Combined Army, especially Onyx Contact Force, just looks really sick. And the Morat things too, actually.
Some Shasvasti hate here.
Shasvasti just kind of look lame.
That's accurate.
yeah, they're not very cool.
Like the
The
only
concept is
Shasvasti
very-
model that I think
like-
is cool is the Anathema.
Mechanically, the concept is kind of cool, like the very
Mhm.
secret, sneaky army like that. But they look kind of dumb.
They look better than the Vespids I bought.
Yeah,
Is that
Infinity is another one of
saying
those
much,
games
though?
that has some pretty big
Okay.
variance between like in model quality.
Yeah, because I'm sure you're talking about the Morat re-release, not the original Morats.
I don't think I know what the original Morats look like. So
Good.
no.
Don't look
They're
them up.
pretty goofy.
Okay. Yeah, the new what's it called? The new Raicho, whatever it's called.
Raichu.
The Raichu.
Yeah, the Raichu. Yeah.
That's
It
right.
looks sick. It's one of
I mean-
my favorite representations of a mech in a model that I've ever seen.
What new Infinity models look bad? I mean, like,
I don't like the new Avatar as much as actually that's not true. The old Avatar had a lot of cool things going, but the new one's pretty dope.
mhm.
Nope, I got nothing.
Yeah, it's like,
It's the thing they do, right? It's
Yeah.
They make pretty models, and then they get somebody as good as Angel Heraldez to paint them,
Yep.
yeah.
and then you hate yourself because you can't make it look the same.
oh, I know, that's the worst part.
It's actually a really interesting thing that I'm kind of like curious to look into because, like, for our game, assuming I'm doing the box arts, like
Mhm.
I cannot paint as good as Angel can, but I can paint better than a lot of people can, and it's like, where is the line for the box art, right? Where do you draw that so that people still like go, oh, that's really cool, but then also they can copy it?
Do you think that's what's happening in MCP? Do you think their studio painters like dumbing it down?
Considering that Brendan's like personal models look 1,000 times better than the box arts he's painted, I think what is happening is either they're doing that on purpose or they're handing him like $15 and saying, you have half an hour, go. So yeah, I don't know.
God damn it! They re-released the Alba Seals and they look amazing. Fuck! Why did I look at Infinity models?
Thanks, Holy Ducky. It's all just freehand. It's just a base that I sanded down because I didn't feel like basing it. I hate basing models. It's my least favorite part of the hobby. By
So
a
you
lot.
turn into painting instead.
Yeah, I just turn it into like look at my MCP bases, man. Like I'm willing to do an absurd amount of freehanding and stuff instead of modeling it because I hate modeling stuff.
You got to find the fun part.
Yeah. Okay, I'm slowly getting very pleased with a random stupid part of this gun, which is this bit that I'm painting right here. It's not anything special, but it's that contrasting like dark orangey gold color that it really needed. Like look at the wing that it's part of on the top here, and then look at it from the side again, and you can see that like change in tone. Makes me very happy. Oh, just wait, Chris. There's many more things in the future. Also, yes, Brett, my wife occasionally likes to tell me that I'm a robot, so that tracks. Okay, well, this has been a really successful like rejuvenation of this thing for me. I was really, really frustrated with this color scheme, and it is turning into something that I'm quite happy with.
Okay, so I'm going to need you to do a before and after. That's going to be your edit.
Okay, yeah. When I'm done with it, I can take because I took some before pictures.
Yeah,
I can take some after pictures with all the same conditions and everything.
That would make a good thumbnail.
I think so. Because yeah, like I think I've started to understand the problems that I was having, and I'm starting to work through them. Like I'm not. So I was using a really dull brown as the base color for like the undercolors, and now I'm just using a bunch of different colors of orange. And it's making a big difference, I think. Of course, Richard's going to hop in here in just a second and tell me that I'm doing a bunch of things wrong, but that's his job, so I'm sure it will be okay. Like there's some things that I still need to do, like what I'm doing right here with this separation of these feathers. Yep, there it is. Everything is terrible. No, Richard, you're supposed to say everything is awful. It's supposed to fit the song. Yeah, I think we're on the track to what this army is going to look like, because that's like when I'm sitting there staring at it now, it's like actually popping at me that gold is what it's supposed to be. It's not just like, oh, maybe that's gold. Hold on, I'll point it at the camera so that people can actually see that. Nowish. There we go. So, yeah, I'm quite liking that. And I've also, I don't know if you can tell this, Brett, but like if you look at the left side of this the painting, it's a lot more highlighted than the right side, so it continues to give that impression.
Oh, you said it was coming from the top left. Yes.
Yeah. So if you look at like the right wing thing on his helmet, it looks very much darker, and that's helping with the overall look of the model. You
keep using. Okay, wait. I keep thinking stage right instead of actual right.
No, actual right.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think I'm gonna desaturate the base very much. I really like the blue, and I think I'm gonna put it in my display board. The purple should be squad markings. I don't know, man. I like the purple. I think it's just gonna be an army wide thing. I think what the purple needs is it needs
army wide. How many models are there?
28. Thank you very much. And I own like 50. So
how'd you end up with so many extra?
I got a lot of them from Chris for a very good price of Bellicor plus less money than he probably should have charged me. Okay, so hold on. I'm gonna throw some crazy stuff on this thing because it's about time to be done. So if I'm mixing up some Chimera magenta with some titanium white from Pro Acryl off here on the side. All right. So this should be a big jump in tone. I don't want to print out base covers. I hate working with resin. Okay. So if I go like this, oh, you can't even see that. Hold on. Moving. Is that in frame? That's in frame. If I go like this with this very bright pink purple color, which is the color I actually think I want it to be. And then, so, okay. Can you see that really bright pink there, Brett?
Mm-hmm.
See how much more of a contrast that is? And then on top of that, because this is a trick that I like, you can highlight pink with this saturated blue, and it looks pretty good. I know it's radioactively pink. I love it.
Got some Slaneshi custodes.
I mean, something like that. All right, and then to dull it down a little bit, and then also to continue to push the contrast in tone, you can highlight. So see here, I'm highlighting it with the this is basically P3 Frostbite mixed into that mix. So see how it brings down the tone, but it also makes the contrast of light to dark stand out a lot more on the model itself. Yeah, something like that. And then maybe some glazes with this other color again. Because I'm not happy with the purple yet either. It's like the next thing I got to figure out is what to do about the purple. Because it's not dark enough. It's not got enough contrast inside of it. And I think this sort of like crazy pink is what it really needs. All right. Well, thanks. How eye-catching do I want this area? So, well, I want the head to be really eye-catching, right? So, like, draw the eye there, and then the other purples I can make a little bit more subdued. Like the belt doesn't need to be quite so bright as the rest of it, but like the weapon glow, which is really hard to see. I don't even know if I can get this on camera. Yeah, I kind of can. Is pink. So that's kind of my like power weapons are going to be pink. All of the energy blades are going to be pink. It will tie it in, I think. But yeah. Geez, we've been going for almost 2 hours. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming and hanging out. We're probably going to call it right about here. We'll be doing this every other week, I think is the plan. I probably won't be working. I hope I'm not working on this model next time. Things have gone badly if I am. I should be working on something else. But yeah, until then, thanks for coming, everybody, and hanging out. This will be up on Twitch very soon as a VOD, and then on YouTube after that as a slightly more edited podcast style thing. And we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Come to play, stay to slay. Back and forth, come and go. I'll tell you what you wanna know. How to set your trap, watch as I attack. Try to play the game, try to stay sane. Working that brain, hope it's not in vain. You can try to play it safely, but there's no way you can break me. Time to get ready, the foe is coming steady, and we'll give it all we've got. Keeping it light, but holding on tight. It doesn't matter if we win or not. Gotta give it your all, even if you fall. We came to fight a fair fight, but now there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. You can try, but I've got line of sight. You come and talking smack, well we ain't like that. Talk is cheap, hard work and skill is where it's at. Now when your men wilt, you best try not to tilt. And if you beat me, there's no need to feel guilty. I don't play too safely, and there's no one here to save me. Time time to get ready. The foe is coming steady, and we'll give it all we've got. Keeping it light, but holding on tight. It doesn't matter if we win or not. Gotta give it your all, even if you fall. We came to fight a fair fight, but now there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. You can try, but I've got line of sight. Did you think you could get away this time? How cute. Well, I've got line of sight. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. You can try. I've got line of sight.